Matt,
Good morning, Nicholas.
morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. I mean,
It's kind of a dreary day here in the Northeast, but it's going to be a nice weekend.
hopefully.
And now we're in the month of May. I wanted to ask you, the month of May traditionally is like wedding and graduation season.
Okay.
Do you have any major, are you going to any weddings or graduations in the next couple of weeks?
What do you mean? I have no plan to divorcing my wife. Is that the question?
No, I mean other people's weddings, younger people.
Okay. No wedding plan for me. So
No wedding plans for you. Okay. This weekend, my youngest son graduates from high school, so we're having a nice little party.
oh, nice.
So I've got to do 1,001 things, including mulching the yard and buying things to consume and stuff like that.
Mulching the yard is part of the graduation wedding.
Yeah, you got to have your house looking good. Add flowers,
I see.
mulch, that whole thing. Yes,
That's probably
why.
why
Lots to do.
All right, well, let's get started. All right, everybody. This is Nico with eStreamly, the company that gets you live stream and video commerce on your site, social media, email, SMS, wherever you are. The video is shoppable here in direct from New York City, where I have been all week. I'm excited to be here. Matt, great to see you again. I'm here with Matt, my great friend from E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. We've got a full docket of interesting news going on this week, especially around social media. But before we go there, Matt, why don't you tell us what the show is about?
Nicholas, hold on. Lots going on right now. So thank you very much for tuning in or listening to us on your Spotify or wherever you listen to us. This is called the VCommerce Podcast. We're here every week at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We talk about video commerce. What is video commerce? It's the video shopping platform that started with direct response television, graduated into QVC and HSN, and now has developed into website sales, applications or app sales, and pretty much everywhere else. So we try to cover 2 or 3 topics each week about what's going on in video commerce. Often TikTok dominates the conversation. Often Amazon through e-commerce dominates that conversation. I think we'll dive into both those companies in some way today. But like Nicholas, there's so much going on. Hold on to your hats. As I said a few weeks ago, everyone's got to weather the storm, especially if you work in retail or e-commerce or video commerce. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask about, and you're in New York City, kind of the hub of all tech and all sales. One of the topics I read on your platform, on your news, your weekly newsletter, is just about websites and how they're being designed and how people are changing with the times and what to do now in growing your e-commerce site.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting story, right? I think the storyline started with, we don't really know. The website that is built today, right? Where you think it's a catalog, and then the website that's going to be tomorrow with everything AI is completely changing the game. And so, people are less and less entering through the homepage. They are more and more entering through direct to PDP. And so there's a lot of change happening around that space. But I think one of the things that I found was interesting as we were talking in the newsletter, and something that was highlighted, is the fact that, video and basically the share of digital video versus TV video has started to switch. And now we have a higher digital video that is meant for ads than it is on TV. And so what it means that as people continue exploring ad and everything, and it sounds like the digital media is getting the lion's share of the marketing. And I thought that was very interesting, right? We're talking about this transition from the TV to the digital experience. And this is another point where we talk about the fact that websites are changing, ads are changing. We talk about video commerce, and we're talking about QVC looking at reinventing themselves. We're in an ever evolving environment, and it's moving fast.
Well, you said it in our prep call. Hold on to your playbook, sorry, you said throw out your playbook, which is a great way to kind of summarize it. Like, you have to change your approach on everything e-commerce right now. I still search. I'm an old man. I still search through Google go to the homepage, then find the product detail page. But obviously through OpenAI and other search engines that are popping up, challenging that whole Google platform, people are going right to the product detail and finding the product there, bypassing generally what's always been known as the most popular page, which is the homepage. So it is a crazy world. TikTok now, kind of update, improving their ranking as the #2 streamer in the US. That's one of those reasons why I think this whole thing is kind of changing. How discovery, it's all about discovery. How are people discovering products and discovering your brand right now? And the answer is no one knows. I think everyone's trying everything to try to stand out in this whole digital way.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say no one knows, right? But I think it's just like it's a very much a changing environment. And as you say, so this is the news of the week where basically TikTok is taking over live streaming from Twitch, right? Taking the position as #2 from Twitch. #1 still remain YouTube, but TikTok is taking #2. And when you think about this, right, TikTok has been really strong with video shopping and live shopping specifically. People are going and streaming on TikTok to present their product and present more things. So it's definitely becoming this area where the merging of shopping and the merge of content is getting really blurry. And but the thing also is like the thing that doesn't really surprise me, to be frank with you, is yes, live stream. Twitch has always been the place for live streaming, but Twitch is also like a very narrow, niche type environment, right? I mean, it's niche in a sense of like it doesn't have the broad scope and appeal that the TikTok has, where it's talking to everyone. Where Twitch is more talking to the gaming community or like the very diehard fan community of a certain vertical. And I think that's also the reason why TikTok was able to overtake Twitch in that sense. I mean, if you think about that, I mean, like YouTube is still the #1, and it's also a broad spectrum type audience over there. It's not really niche. So, I mean,
Nicolas, in your opinion, is YouTube more polished from a content perspective than TikTok is, as a general thought, or is that just from my viewpoint?
I think like I think creators definitely are putting way more effort on a TikTok on YouTube. Than they are putting on TikTok. And I think it's because the TikTok is more in the moment type situation, the authenticity in the moment, where YouTube is always still be this platform where people are producing more content heavy, thoughtful content that is meant to be consumed in a longer format. And I think that's the reason why I think you're seeing that that difference. There's still a lot of content on YouTube that is on a on a horizontal format, right? So, and also YouTube, as we know, is being consumed by over 50% on TV, right? So, you are talking to a more passive viewers, and that passive viewers, you probably need a little bit more content, polished content versus the TikTok. I don't know. That's my
in my opinion. Like, so now I'm diving deep into TikTok Shop. Like, as we said, it's always, for me, it's the second device, watching the ball game and having my tablet with me and searching. QVC, as we've talked about in this past, is now on TikTok 24 hours, 7 days a week. So I'm watching their content, I'm paying attention, and it's well produced. It looks good. They've got offers. They've got the basic 101s. They're learning like everyone else on the platform, but it looks good. Then as everyone does, I start swiping on TikTok Shop, looking for other live streaming selling apps or live stream selling people, and some of it is disappointing, really bad to watch, not well organized, looks good, looks bad. Maybe the lighting's good, but like the content's not very good. They're not very organized in their speaking points. Where I think on YouTube, it's very well done. To your point, it's more of a broadcast because a lot of people watch YouTube on TV, and I just think it's a better end product. So now this comes back to what you and I have talked about over a long duration of time. In your opinion, over time, you've said, and Extremely's point of view is, you don't have to be well polished to be selling product on on your platform, on your website, or through any kind of social app. I think now that over the last couple of weeks, I stick around more if the product is being produced in an effective way. Lighting's good, conversation's good,
Yeah.
the whatever you call it, the influencer is organized, the offers are strong, all that kind of thing. It goes into holding me as a viewer.
Yeah, I think you need to have some of the basics, right? But I do agree with that. But you know, speaking of live streaming and all that, you know, before I go to that second topic, actually, let me finish up on and double clicking on one thing. Um, I wonder also if TikTok is more representative of a generational shift, and the reason we don't quite understand is because we grew up more on YouTube type experience, and basically younger audience generate maybe resonate better with a TikTok like organization per se. I don't know. Maybe it's
Good
maybe
call. Good
generational fault
point.
on that. I don't know, because you know, like, we can criticize, but we are the oldie here in a way,
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
And maybe it's just we're missing out on what the reality of the support is offering.
True. Very true. Good
So
point.
so yeah, but talking about live streaming and being messed up and everything, uh, in the news, the rest of this week has been a lot of WhatNot. I'm sure everyone is aware of WhatNot. WhatNot has is the platform that is focusing on live shopping. It's a pretty interesting platform, actually. So last week they kind of published on their LinkedIn that they were like the number one shopping app on by the comparison on download on Apple. So quite interesting, overpassing Walmart and Shop and Amazon on term of download. So kind of interesting to see that from that perspective. Um, I know, Matt, you have been using WhatNot and have been navigating the WhatNot. So I'm curious to hear your thought. I know you're very yeah, you have a very strong opinion about.
Well, you just called me out as being an old man, which I am. But like I'll say the positive. I'll say the positive at Whatnot. I selected, as they ask you to do, all the genres or the categories that you want to be a part of, that you want to see on a daily basis. So I picked specific categories that interest me, and some of those categories of product I think are a little rough around the edges, but others are not. So I chose that platform. I chose the Whatnot, then I chose certain categories that I want to follow and see how they sell products. So some of it's very well done, some of it's very polished and professional, and others are like you could tell you're in the guy's basement, and he's selling sports cards or whatever, whatever the store that I'm going into is a little off-putting for me, loud music or something else. But to your point, it's not really geared towards me. It's geared towards a younger customer. I do like that you can choose categories. I really like that. So if I'm beauty's a big category in live streaming. If you're a beauty junkie and you like color, product, and skincare and hair and all that kind of thing, and you go to the beauty app or the beauty store on Whatnot, I think it's going to entertain you for minutes and hours, like that kind of thing. If you're into sports collectibles, it's going to entertain you for a long time. So you specifically pick the genre. Where other platforms are just kind of selling
Yeah,
general
randomly.
product,
Mhm.
that's harder to hold an audience with because they may or may not be interested.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, right? Because in that sense, I mean, you go to WhatNot not to watch a show. You go because you know that you've been sold to, right? So
Yeah.
because in this case, then you are already in somewhat of a mental state of, hey, I am listening to a sales pitch. It could be a really fun sales pitch, but I'm still listening to a sales pitch, or I'm going to learn about a specific product that I care about or a specific category of new things there. Maybe I'm into makeup and I want to learn what's the new and trendy and what other creators are doing. So, and I go to the category of makeup and stuff. So I think it's interesting, and I think that's the reason why they convert more. I think there was I've seen some stuff this week actually on LinkedIn where people were saying like getting on WhatNot was their most successful market channel of the year so far. They did their marketplace in terms of launch, and so they did test a bunch of new marketplace, and WhatNot was by far the best one, overtaking actually TikTok, interestingly, from that standpoint. But again, they have a very niche product, very niche in their audience. So maybe that's another reason for that.
Nicholas,
On those
Nicholas, let me ask your point of view. You know, from we've talked about international live shopping over time on this show, and you have a better perspective and handle on it. I see a lot through LinkedIn and other platforms that I follow. I think the European model is a little more streamlined than maybe even the U.S. model. Do you think that the European model of live streaming puts more focus on the content production than in the U.S., or is that just something that I'm following?
I so I don't have a strong opinion on that. I mean, I think live shopping is not talk as much as it is here in the US. Even though everyone is saying like, well, it's still new to the US market. I think it's even newer for the European market. And I think people are at the beginning. And I think as everyone has done, even in the US, when people started to play with it, people went on full on with higher production to realize, it's really expensive and everything. And so maybe what you are noticing is like the beginning of that wave. And if you remember, when people started in the US, they started with higher production costs, and now we're starting to finally see some of those production value starting to go down a little bit, and more focusing on efficacy and turning the show into something more like converting in a way. So maybe that's what you're seeing. uh, Personally, I don't have much very strong opinion about is there a big difference from this country over this, I mean, like this continent over the other one. So yeah, I don't have a strong answer. The other thing I will say is that if you look at who is starting to adopt this kind of technology, the luxury space also has been like a more like fashion space, which is by default a space that will produce more highly polished, highly structured, highly engaging content that way. So it might also be that way. Remember, like I think we're talking about the US market being a new market, but I think Europe is still very much new, more new than it is in the US. So
What do you think about, and one more question about that, like the whole TikTok shop with giving gifts and keeping the customer tuned in with that whole platform of like a prize at the end? Do you encourage your clients that use live streaming on their websites to do something similar to that to keep the audience?
so it's a very interesting question. I have seen some live stream that have been very successful by if you purchase something, we'll add something else in the purchase, and whoever is purchasing at the moment, there's a wheel, and then this is one of the thing you can gain, and then someone turn the wheel, and then someone win that, and we'll add that to their purchase. So there is this notion of like if you're already a diehard fan of the brand and you know that one of you in the show can gain something, it might be worth staying. So, I mean, the gamification of the show has always been something that is very strong, right? I think it's something that will hold audience. What I cannot tell you at the moment, at least, is that is the gamification something that is sustainable over time? And is it always the same people that are just hooked to gamification that come back? And does it all the other ones? That's something I don't know. Uh, yeah, that's something I don't know, and I have no data on. But I will
Well, the
think
way
that.
you describe that, in our world is a GWP, gift with purchase.
Mhm.
So it seems like the TikTok shops kind of thing are either giving a separate product or maybe a GWP, gift with purchase. That seems to hold her longer,
But
hold that
what I've
customer
seen,
longer.
what I've seen is the gift for purchase for one in the audience. That is in the audience. It's not so much like everyone is gonna get it. It's more like whoever is there, we're gonna do a drawing. And by the way, we draw. Oh, Matt, you're the winner. You're the one getting the gift.
How about how about the idea of everyone tuning in gets this bonus product, but it's only available for this time? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
isn't this whole thing about holding her?
I
Like,
think. I mean, like if you do that, then I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to. And I think that's something we talked about, the what's in it for me, right? If you have a strong what's
yeah,
in it for me, people will stay. If you don't have a strong what's in it for me, people will not stay. And then at the same time, we know that a lot of brands don't want to discount their product, or don't want to have any brand dilution in a way, right? And their live stream is about elevating the brand. It's not so much about diluting the brand, and so they don't want to do discount or anything, which fine. But what's in it for me then? And you have to figure this piece out, because I constantly have a client saying, "Hey, I'm doing all those live stream and everything, and it's not working for me." Well, first of all, is your content good enough? Like, would you yourself want to watch this? Are you watching it afterward? Like, I mean, that's a good example. Like, if you don't yourself can't watch your own content, maybe ask yourself, like, what's the next thing? How do you make it better? But then the second thing is also, what's in it for me? Do you answer that in a very clear way? And does the consumer knows it? Then he will tune in and stay.
And then we don't have time for this, but like discounting, if you tune into the live stream, you're going to get 30% off. If you just buy my product off the website tomorrow, you're not getting 30% off. So tune in tonight.
Yeah, people will tend to do that. I think they probably don't communicate it enough. So they will have some sort of a promotion during the stream to get that to get people to close the deal, but I don't think they put it enough upfront as the way to tune in folks. So often I see as when they do have those, discount, whatever, it's something that they should put more upfront. Or sometimes the discount is basically the same discount that you will get the next day for reading the email, or and it's just the same gimmicky discount that the company is using all the time every day to take the user to take the same action, and the consumer knows. So in this case, why would I shop today if I know that I'm going to get it tomorrow anyway?
I know. So, right. So you got to give her a reason to tune in. If you're using live streaming, you have to have a hook.
Yeah.
So there's obviously we're all learning. There's a lot of different ways to hook her. But this is great. This is a great conversation. I think everyone. It's just not putting a camera in front of someone and pushing your product or pushing your brand. There's a lot deeper strategies, obviously, to the whole success of it.
Well, before we move on, any special shout out for?
Wanted to shout this out, Nicholas, the Pope. We named the new Pope yesterday. I don't know if you caught it. Pope Leo the IV, and he's from Delaware County. Well, he didn't actually grow up in Delaware County, but he went to Villanova University, which is about 15 minutes from where I live. My family went to Villanova University. We're big Villanova people. So the fact that the new Pope went to Villanova University, which is in Delaware County, and we call it Delco, is a lot of there's a lot of news circulating around where I live in the last 24 hours.
I thought the guy was from Chicago or something.
Well, he lived in Chicago. I think he was born in Chicago, but he went to Villanova. So we're taking credit that he's a Delco guy. Obviously, the first American Pope ever elected. It was big news in the Catholic faith just yesterday. So the fact that he's from Delco, and he's American first off, and he's actually from he went to school in Delaware County, Delco. It's a big deal for the people that I live near and live with.
All right. Well, that's an amazing shout out then, I guess. Thanks everyone for being here. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn as well as on YouTube and Facebook. If you find us, please like, comment, share, tell us what you would like to hear. And then if you join us to jump on the show, feel free to send us an email. If you want to sell something and you just want to be on the show to represent yourself, there's no need to send us an email. We will not take you. You have to bring something valuable to this audience. Obviously, you can also watch us on the podcast. We have the live e-commerce podcast, which is on every favorite podcast platform, especially on Spotify and on Apple. So thanks everyone for being here. We love you all, and we will see you again next Friday. Bye, Matt.
Everyone have a great weekend. Bye-bye, Nicholas.